Welcome to episode 115 of In Touch with iOS, a podcast that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and related technologies. I am your host, Dave Ginsburg, and this is a special episode of In Touch with iOS. We join Mike Potter and the For Mac Eyes Only crew on their podcast, and we do a reaction time event. And of course, the Apple event was today as we record this on September 15th, and there was a lot of great announcements. Our guests on the show were Chuck Joyner, Gary Malpas, and Eric Erickson, and we react to all the announcements from the Apple event. So here is the show, and I hope you enjoy it.
It's For Mac Eyes Only, episode number 383 for September 15th, 2020. Reaction Time, Apple's Time Flies event. Hey everyone, welcome back to For Mac Eyes Only, the show for the Mac community, where we share our thoughts and opinions on current Mac news and events. And joining me today in a first, I think, for Mac Eyes Only and In Touch with iOS, we're simultaneously recording not one, but two podcasts today. The host of In Touch with iOS, Dave Ginsburg, is here with me. Dave, would you like to record your own intro now? We might as well get both out of the way up front, huh?
Yes. I'll just do just a basic intro here. This is In Touch with iOS for episode 115 for September 15th, the Time Flies event. We're covering the event now, and I am going to welcome everybody to the show. And the event is starting right now as well, and I forgot to mute.
The event is starting, but before we go into the event, I'd also like to introduce the soothing voice behind Mac Voices, Chuck Joyner. Hey, Chuck, thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you guys for having me. Does this mean I have a split personality?
Yeah.
You do, yes. You officially now have a split personality. You're For Mac Eyes Only. You know, I was telling Chuck, he said, just in case I might not be able to make it, I said, Chuck, your chair has a brass plaque on it that looks very much like the dedication plaques on a starship in Star Trek. So he has a permanent brass plaque dedication spot in For Mac Eyes Only. He never has to worry about that spot going away.
Well, I appreciate that a lot. It's better than having lead somewhere else, but we'll leave that alone.
It's not a lead plaque. It's a brass plaque. Okay. I guarantee you that. And just joining us is the co-host of the My Mac podcast, traveling to us today from across the pond, Gary Gazmaz Malpas. Hey, Gary.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are.
To all the ships at sea.
Yes. How are you?
I am good. How are you? Thanks for joining us.
I'm good, thank you. Sorry I'm a little bit late.
And just to keep you in the loop here, Gary, we have two podcasts we're recording simultaneously. And, if you want to throw a My Mac in there too, we might as well. But Dave is recording In Touch with iOS at the same time we're recording this For Mac Eyes Only episode.
You're a first-time guest.
Yeah, excellent.
And we are still waiting for Eric to join us. He had some audio difficulties. I was going to tease him about joining us from the sands of Tatooine. It's not really a joking matter. He's in Southern California where all the wildfires are raging, as well as Northern California and Oregon. And our thoughts are with everybody out there, of course. But he did send me a picture of the sky the other day, and I swear it looked just like Tatooine from Star Wars.
Oh dear.
It was, and we're starting to get it here too. Have you noticed that, Dave?
Yeah, yesterday it looked kind of hazy. I saw the sun out, and it seemed like I was thinking to myself, boy, the smoke has reached here at this point.
It did, yeah. I was seeing that it reached as far as Michigan, and then later in the day I saw it reached all the way to the East Coast. So, yeah, a lot of folks in our thoughts this week.
Yes.
Anyway, so we're here for Apple's Time Flies event. We're expecting perhaps a new iPad Air and perhaps the Apple Watch Series 6. Anybody excited about these announcements, or do you really wish it had that iPhone 12 too to round things out?
Oh, I'm just excited to see what they have to say and what the key features are going to be. All the products will be updated sooner or later. It's just a matter of what the features are and when we get them. So,
hey, and Eric is now joining us. We were just talking about you, Eric. Thanks for joining us. And we are watching the event as it's getting started. I got a something went wrong trying to play the live stream. Oh, now I see Tim on stage. Where are we at, Dave? I know you've been watching it closely.
Yeah, they're doing the video introduction so far. Tim Cook came out walking through Apple Park, of course, walking around the building, and they did an intro with him, and now they're talking about the Apple Watch.
It looks to me like he's standing on the roof of Apple Park.
Yeah.
Very close.
It's one of the hallways.
It's going to be a long event if he has to walk the whole way around the building.
Yes.
Perhaps standing on one of his private Apple drones.
No, I think what he's doing is trying to get his steps up on his watch.
Oh my gosh, I think my Apple Watch is trying to kill me this month. Every month we have these goals, and this month's goal is something like 3 billion, not exercise minutes, it's the calories. It's some insane number of calories. I don't hit this number in a given day ever. And it says, oh no, you can do it. You can do it. I just got the encouragement message this morning. We're halfway through the month. You can do it. I'm like, yeah, sure, if you want me to die.
Yeah, I think 29,700 calories I'm supposed to hit. So.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you're up there too.
But you know me, Mike. I'm on target.
Yes.
You probably are. You go on long walks almost every day, I think.
Yes, at the weekend I did a 16.6 mile walk. So
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Great.
All right. Well, you just put all of us to shame. What's going on with the Apple event?
They're doing,
video.
I guess, testimonials about the Apple Watch and how it's changed people's lives,
Yeah.
how it saved their lives in a couple cases.
Yes, they are.
It really is. I'll have to say the Apple Watch is probably at this point my favorite Apple device.
Okay.
I really enjoy having it. Folks who've listened for a while know I used to have a different smartwatch, and it was okay. You know, it wasn't a bad watch, but it's a world of difference having the Apple Watch versus, well, it was a Moto 360. Having the Moto 360 in terms of its ability to get me notifications when I want them. The exercise tracking is really quite good on the Apple Watch. Sometimes it's a little off, but I love how personalized that exercise tracking is compared to other devices that are, take a more generic approach to it.
So you probably spoke about this before I came on, and apologies if you did. But is there any view on how long this event might last? Because I think they're basically going to be talking, we think, don't we, about two devices, which is the iPad and the Apple Watch.
No speculation I'm aware of, but it's probably going to be, I would say, I can't see it going more than an hour. I mean, they're really, unless they've got other things they're talking about with services. There was a rumor about the Apple bundles. They may talk about that today because they did register a lot of Apple One domains that was posted the other day. So they couldn't get .com because a company already has that. So, but they went like .website and a lot of others. So it's the Apple One bundle. So
and have you mentioned the rainbow in the middle of Apple Park?
No,
They just flew by it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that's been there for a while. That's like their
Right.
like a little stage area, isn't it? Where
Yeah.
they have
It looks like
on-site
that. Yeah.
concerts and things like that. It's a beautiful, beautiful park.
yeah, it sure is.
Back to your question, though, Gary. I wasn't envisioning it going much past an hour. But Dave's got a good point. Yeah, if they're going to talk about services, that's something they could certainly spend quite a lot of time on in an effort to rush out and sign up.
And once again, we're seeing some really interesting high production values here. But I have the distinct impression, well, there's no question that this is recorded.
Right.
This is not live. At least this part is not live.
Yeah, for sure.
It does look like they jumped to the Apple Watch, huh?
Yeah. And the recorded part is not a bad thing by any means. It's just comment.
I almost prefer it.
There
I
we
don't know
go.
what you guys think about that, but I really do like these pre-recorded talks.
Yeah, I do too.
It feels more concise, it feels more controlled.
Yeah.
Well, and you're not constantly interrupted by all the applause, which, I mean, they want the applause, of course, but still.
I think, Chuck, the next best thing to not having any live audience and applause is complete control over your stream and what you're delivering, of course. Because, and the reason I say that is sometimes when they do the demonstrations, they have slight hiccups, and I can imagine them all just clenching themselves a little bit each time they have a demo which they're not in control of.
Mm-hmm. We've seen plenty of those demos go south over the years, from Apple, Google, and Microsoft. So having that kind of control, you're right, ensures that the demo goes off without a hitch and highlights exactly what they want to highlight, rather than having to move on to something when they couldn't get it to work quite right. Now, this does look to be do you think this is the Watch Series 6 they're showing? They were doing a little rehash of...
It's been confirmed. It's the Apple Watch Series 6.
Yep. Series 6 right there.
They got a red. They got that different color like they said they were going to have too.
Product red, yeah.
If you look carefully on the back there as they were spinning it around, you could see product red.
Yeah, red.
The first thing they're talking about is your blood oxygen measurement on the device.
That red looks good. I like the blue. I saw the rumor about the blue model the other day, and I just saw it go by here on screen. I really like that.
Yeah.
And so now we do have blood oxygen measurements.
Yep.
In 15 seconds.
Which it sounds like, of course, it does look like it's different hardware, though, because they've got 4 red lights now instead of 1 green light in the back. But it sounded like it was something they could do on the earlier watches, too. They just didn't.
Oh, I'm sure somebody will second guess that if that's the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really looks great. And I just like to show you pictures so far. The design of the new Series 6, very impressive. So a lot of there's going to be a lot of focus on health, and then that's where they're already going into it, the blood oxygen level now, and you got the measurement of the heart rate and all the other things with health. So this is big. And yeah, there's also a blue one. You saw that there's not only there's the red one, there's a blue one that's new as well for colors.
So far with the watch, that's the big. Those are the big changes. The color, the blood oxygen. There's no size change or anything like that. Same screen.
Yeah, I don't expect a whole lot of wholesale changes other than feature enhancements.
Right.
With this blood oxygen, this is a big deal because
it's
It's
huge.
going to help people with bronchitis, asthma, people who are even suffering, unfortunately, with COVID-19. It could help them as well with the breathing issues that they have. So I think this is a big thing.
It's actually, it's actually a really big thing just because there's a lot of times people don't realize their oxygen levels down. My wife's a respiratory therapist, and she runs into that all the time where people are in the 80s or, whatever, and they didn't even realize it. And so it's just kind of like their heart monitoring thing. I think it has the ability to help people out when they don't even know they're in trouble.
And also,
and again, it's kind of consistent with Apple's strategy, or what seems to be their strategy, that there's maybe 1.5 significant new features or capabilities in each iteration.
Yeah, that was where they kind of let off, was showing some of the past feature updates, heart rate monitoring, and actually they were showing the software updates that included the hand washing and the sleep monitoring prior to debuting the new watch. So it's a nice lead-in. And blood oxygen level has actually been on a lot of folks' minds recently too, with the debate over the different types of masks during the pandemic and how they may or may not affect the amount of oxygen you can get in. I saw a really interesting video of a young woman who has breathing issues, and she has to wear a mask all the time, and she consequently has to use a blood oxygen meter to measure to make sure that she's getting the right amount of oxygen in her blood. And she gave a really nice demo of all the different types of masks and showing how not one of those styles affected the amount of oxygen getting into her bloodstream. It was a really effective demo, I thought.
It's interesting. I think the I don't know, blood oxygen, the term I've usually heard is pulse ox. But I don't know what they're calling it here. Maybe it's just blood oxygen.
Yeah. So they just said that the new watch will be 2.5 times brighter than the previous model, so it's easier to read in sunlight.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, the other thing that was mentioned too is there's going to be 3 new health studies with for blood related studies. That's going to be with the Apple Watch. The other thing is they, quote unquote, they have an Apple Silicon chip in the in the watch. It's a S6 system on a chip, the newest Silica processor.
Yeah. So is this the first Apple Silicon device? And one thing I was just going to say to Eric, actually, because I saw the note about the brightness on the screen. I'll be honest though, I've never had a problem with the brightness on. I've got a 4, and I've never had a problem with seeing the screen on a bright day. So as long as it's making it more efficient and it's not going to use more battery life, then great.
Yeah.
But I mean, brighter is always best. As long as you can, if you turn it down and it saves your battery, then great as well. But I've never actually had a problem with it. So.
Yeah, for me, I can see it, but I guess my old eyes aren't as good as they. Okay. I've noticed in the
shout.
Yeah, yeah. No, you can always see it. You're right, actually.
They just showed a new collection of Apple Watch faces.
Yes,
which is really interesting that they seem to be all, with the possible exception of the Memoji, they seem to be very minimalist this time around, as opposed to packing all the information in.
Certainly a lot of very functional faces.
Yeah.
I was thrilled, secretly thrilled, although it's no longer a secret because I'm telling you, that the Mickey face went by as they were showing all the different faces, because that is the only watch face I use on my watch. And, those kind of relationships, anytime you see something like that, and you like it, you always have to worry that relationship might sour and that they're going to take something like that away. So I was thrilled to see the Mickey face go by.
So on that, what they've said is that apparently they're giving developers tools, but for complications, not for making their own watch faces.
Yep.
That's a bit of a bummer. I would like to see it open up to third parties to develop faces for it. That is one thing that was pretty cool of that Moto 360 is the sheer breadth of available faces. Very quality faces, I should point out. Whole businesses surrounding the development of faces for Android Wear watches. And I could see something like that coming for the Apple Watch as well, curated and available just through the App Store.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish they would do that. It's the only thing that makes me wonder is they do have some watches where there's faces are exclusive to that. It's not really hardware, but the Nike obviously, and then I think there's like a higher end. Was it Hermes? I'm trying to think of the name.
Yeah.
Which I really love those watch faces, but unless you buy that that watch, you can't get it. And I wonder if that's what's kind of holding back to me, I can't see why not either, because, otherwise Apple has to make all the watch faces for everybody's taste. Whereas if they just let developers do it, they don't have to waste their time. I mean, not waste their time, but they don't have to spend extra time doing that.
Well, the curation process would, in theory, eliminate not only the knockoff faces, but also faces that attempt to replicate too closely something that Apple's released. So it would be no different than the App Store for the phone or Mac or anything like that, where they eliminate those kind of apps that step on the toes of something Apple is doing. So I think they could work around it if they wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So they have added some updates to the bands. Looks like there's going to be a solo band where it just fits over to your wrists like elastic.
Interesting.
As well as some braided bands, which is interesting to see. So they're really focusing a lot on things that would be functional with this watch. The other thing they're just now talking about is the family setup, which allows you to be able to actually set up an Apple Watch on your iPhone for a family member if they don't have an iPhone. So they can
that's nice.
That is nice.
Watch, and then it can be just configured with your iPhone. They don't need one.
Yeah, this is kind of spectacular, and I'm sure that I bet there are educators out there that will love this, because now that the kids don't have to have the phones with them.
So this to me, this is kind of leading to the rumor they were saying there was going to be like an Apple Watch SE, like the low end kids type watch. I have this feeling that's where we're leading to here.
There you go. Apple. This family setup requires an Apple Watch Series 4 or later with cellular.
Oh, it does.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay.
Ooh, I didn't see that. Okay.
Well, that's a bit of a bummer.
Well, I mean, let's face it.
It kind of makes sense, though, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, that makes sense, because how is it going to communicate without an Apple, without the iPhone? There's cellular is the way it goes.
Yeah.
It's still not quite magic. It's close, but it's not quite magic.
Yeah.
And they've just announced Apple Watch SE.
SE.
Yep.
As we knew in the rumors. Boy, is this going to sell them watches. I'm telling you.
Is it? Do we know what the price?
Not yet.
I haven't seen the SE go by yet. But Dave, if they do release an SE and they target it towards children specifically, do you envision it being a throwback to the old 38 millimeter or something like that, and have just one size available?
I wonder whether the 3 is going to go and the 4 is going to become the SE.
Mm.
Yeah, I think they're going to. The 4 is going to.
Sorry, Dave. Go ahead.
Yeah, the 4 is. I agree with you guys. I think the SE is basically going to be the 4's guts into a new branding.
But not a smaller chassis.
I think it's going to stay with 40 and 44 as the sizing.
Yeah.
I don't see
he just said that they're going to use the largest Apple Watch face so that you can see more information on it.
Right, so the 40.
Okay, so
So you're not going to have that choice.
Which is good. Then really that lies in it answers your question. Yeah, it's one set size for this model alone. So that's going to save them some costs too.
Oh, from $279.
$279. That's still a little high. Of course, you got the financing. They're going to be pushing that with Apple Card.
Yeah.
If anybody didn't see the earlier story, they've ended their relationship with Barclays, so the Apple Rewards card is gone.
Oh, they did. No, I didn't hear that.
3.
So they're sticking with the 3. They've got the 6, and now they've got the SE.
Wow. I didn't think they'd keep the 3. Holy
No.
cow. What's the price of the 3? It's going to be under $200.
I haven't seen that yet.
That's what I was wondering.
We don't know yet.
49. I'm betting. No, the Series 3 is staying at $199. So it's a $50
So the other
price.
The other thing I wonder about the SE, he said starting at $279. So I'm betting that the cellular model for that family plan is going to be a little more. I don't know how much more, but
for the cost of the phone, and then your $10 or $15 a month with your carrier.
Yeah, that's the thing that's just hard to justify.
It all depends what how good your carrier is, because actually I'm with a carrier that does a very reasonable add-on for data usage on the phone. So if they're clever, sorry, I know that's a bit of a stretch, but if they're clever, they could use it to their advantage to give you, a subsidized cellular package for your watch or for other devices.
Right.
Yeah, I'm with a really non-clever carrier. So it's not...
But the other question is this SE going to be available without cellular? It may not be, just to keep it in line with the family setup. We're going to find out.
I think they said the SE was GPS. That was a $279 for the SE GPS.
Okay.
So that indicates to me that is the lowest model that doesn't have cellular.
So
but I am guessing.
That's not the question. The real question is, who is with a clever carrier?
well, I think that my carrier is not bad actually, and they're starting to talk about integrating some of the iCloud functionality with their packages as well. So
that's great.
I've got to say the carriers over here do try and think about it a little bit more. which when sometimes when I hear about your cellular costs and what they're doing, we moan about them over here. So I would be apoplectic about the carriers in the US.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we don't have TV licensing fees.
Oh yeah, because that's all of £12 a month, Mike.
Yeah, well, that's £12 a month we can put towards a new Apple Watch.
Oh,
You wouldn't get your Doctor
Per
Who
TV.
then.
Actually, it's per, not to go down this rat hole, but it's per device that can watch television. So even if you have a tuner installed in your computer, that is supposed to have a license.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's really for a household. So I pay £12 for the household, and I've got as many devices as I'd like.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's different.
So
than it
so
used
it's
to
for
be
the
then.
address. So if I've got 15 people living at my address, they can use as many devices as they like. So
Okay, so they did
Okay,
improve
so-
it then, because it used to be quite a bit different than that.
so the Series 6 and the SE will be able to be ordered today, and they will be available this Friday.
I love how
Cool.
Dave always brings us back on track.
Yeah. He beat me to it because I'm honestly surprised that they're rolling it out that fast.
Yeah,
That's
that's-
great.
Extremely
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah. Question is on this panel: are you going to be buying one?
No,
Oh, what did you say? Are we going to be buying it, Dave?
Are you going to be buying an Apple Watch? Yes,
The new Series 6.
the Series 6.
Probably.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll say no, but then I will probably get it anyway.
Yeah, I'm not sure yet. From what I've seen, I think I can wait for another year. I've had this. Crikey, I've got the 4, so I've had it 2 years.
So do I.
But I think it's still good enough. I'm not seeing enough yet.
Right.
Now, whether there's extra things that they bring out, I mean, my blood oxygen level is something which I don't think at this point I concern myself about too much. Whether I should or not is a discussion I'll have when I go and see the doctor next. And if he says, "Oh yes, you should definitely be concerned about it," then I'll probably jump out and get one. But we've got a process where basically the phones go down the family. That doesn't happen with the watch. The watch stays on my wrist, and it doesn't float down. So, but it all depends, because I'm on the iPhone 11 Pro, but this year I might skip it. That leaves me a bit of spare cash to think about other devices. So, I've said I'm not, but you know what we're like. We just go out and buy them, don't we, Chuck?
We do.
Well,
Well,
I don't know. I was just at my doctor, and they said, the more information, the better. Is
Oh
is
yeah,
their
absolutely,
theory.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
sure.
it's interesting to hear a healthcare provider advocate for something that is not really a healthcare device, and at least happily at the moment is not impacting my personal health. But on the other hand, it's like, yeah, why wouldn't you take advantage of this if you can?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I have a couple clients who have no interest or had no interest in the Apple Watch until their doctor recommended it to them for the heart monitoring. And after helping him set it up, showing him how that all works, letting him, have at it for a week or so, they came back and they love it. But they never would have purchased it without that little nudge from the doctor.
Well, equally, a lot of insurance companies are doing the same thing, aren't they?
Oh,
Yeah, I suppose they are.
They're starting, certain ones, if you will do certain things and allow them. The interesting part is, in a lot of cases, they want to be able to track you as to whether you are actually, keeping up with the exercises. But if so, they will give you a free Apple Watch.
Yeah, see, and that's a no for me. But the going back to what you were saying, Gary, I'm on a Series 3.
Yep.
My wife is on a Series 4. I still don't feel compelled to purchase a new one for myself. I don't see enough that's different or of interest to me that I need or want to purchase another one. I've been very happy with my Series 3. Now, that said, if I were to go out and buy a new one, or if I were to advise someone on buying a new one, it would be a Series 6, no question. I can't see any reason to buy an SE or a Series 3 with that small of a price difference, assuming price weren't an object and someone's going to keep it as long as I have kept mine.
Yeah.
Go with the Series 6. It just makes sense.
Going with pricing, the price starting is on the Series 6 is $399. So run down what it has. You've got new colors. You have the S6 chip, the blood oxygen monitoring. It's available Friday. And one thing is no power adapter. So I think we are starting a trend here with no power adapters coming with devices.
No charger.
No charger.
So what the heck are you supposed to do? If you've never had an Apple Watch before, what are you supposed to go buy one? Well, that's stupid.
Yeah. They may be doing that with the iPhone too. That's been the rumor.
Yeah, it's been the rumor with the iPhone. So seems like
Mike, I'm not so sure because I don't use. I use a third-party charging dock.
Yeah, me too.
And once you do, I hate to say it, I don't know anyone. Now they might have integrated their charger into a dock that didn't have a charger, but most of the things now come with, especially the wireless things, they already have them. So.
Someone who's never had what I'm saying is someone who's never had an Apple Watch before, going with the scenario I just said, if you've never had one, buy a Series 6. They buy a Series 6, it gets delivered by FedEx, and they open it up, they put it on, it says, oh, you got to charge it. Yeah. Now what?
But I think the thing of it is, though, and I guess it'll remain to be seen, but I'm sure either ordering it online or going to the store, you're going to be made known that it's not going to come with a charger right off the bat.
I don't have that much confidence in it being an obvious notification to people that they need to buy that separate. And then what are they going to charge for it? $20, $30 on top of the $399?
I think that's going to be the thing, though. I think they are going to, because I think they're going to want to make the extra $20 or whatever. But my question is, how much is it any cheaper without the charger, or is it just basically the same price and now you're going to buy the charger too?
Well, I think the Series 5, I think started at $429 if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So that could be the possibility that they cut the price down a little bit. But is that charger really costing them that much money?
I know.
Here's radical. They're giving you the option at the end, asking you whether you really need the charger if you've already got one.
Yeah.
Thinking about the environment.
Yeah, that's what they are thinking, the environment, because they know many of us have boxes and boxes full of chargers.
Absolutely. So, but to your point, we're going down the avenue of how much they're going to charge for it. I think we've got to wait and see whether they give you the option to, it's just to make sure that it doesn't automatically come with the charger, because they know most people have got them. I've actually bought a spare charger. You've all been going on about third-party chargers. I bought another Apple charger to put in my car because there have been times when I've gone away and forgotten the charger from my watch. So I just keep it in the car, and I've used it multiple times. But that's it. Now that charger is not like the other chargers for your phone, because I don't know about you guys, but the charger for my phone is the wire's always going on it, and it doesn't matter whether it's Apple cable or some other. They always fray. Yeah. But the Apple Watch one just seems to doesn't seem to have that problem. I've not gone down the avenue of getting a wireless charge yet.
Here's the question: did anybody get the first Apple Watch, and is anybody still using their charger from their first Apple Watch? Because I am, and it's like a 10-foot long cable where like the ones that come now are not anywhere near.
No, they're shorter.
Yeah.
That's an interesting question. The answer is yes. I still use that charger, but it is snapped into a dock that did not have a charger built into it.
Yeah.
So yes, I am still using the original one, but it's not just as a lay around cord kind of thing.
Right.
Right. Yep. Yeah, mine's the same thing. I've got it snapped in a charger.
So
have it.
So the next thing they're talking about is the new Fitness Plus service. It looks like they're going after Peloton. They're going to have videos. They're going to have different workout types, or the way you work out the way you want. Integrated with Apple Music. So they've really done some integration with fitness now with this.
Yeah, and it's integrated with your phone, so you can watch it on your phone, and obviously the timing and everything is all synced between the two devices, so you can watch the instructor on the phone, and you've got a certain amount of details on the phone, and you've got your watch on as well while you're carrying along with the exercise.
Right, and it's showing the videos that that'll work with type of workout you want, and you don't necessarily need to have a device like a bike, like a Peloton.
Yeah.
Well, looks like they're going after them direct, and they are going to charge $80 a year for that. Or
$10 a month. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
So which leads me to believe there's another piece of that bundle that's coming, and it's not going to be available until the end of the year.
Yeah, this bundle is going to be about $100 a year, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you get
Sorry, a month. Sorry, $100 a month. By the time you finished,
you purchase your Apple Watch, so to entice you.
That's something that if we see a services bundle, that's got to be included, because I can't picture anybody spending $80 a year for that.
Yeah.
No, I sure wouldn't.
I don't think we're the right demographic for that.
Yeah. I'm definitely not.
I hope I'm not being offensive to anyone.
No, you're not.
I mean, think about what everybody's spending now for those who have have a Peloton, and how much you're spending for that, including all the services and the device.
Yeah.
Versus this, so they've just now announced Apple One.
Yep, Apple One. Here we go.
Here we go. Oh, I can't wait.
This will be really interesting to see what the pricing is.
Yes, love it. Yep, they're just going through all the services right now: Apple TV, Apple Music,
Arcade.
Yep.
I want to see News Plus too.
Yep, that's there.
Yep, there we go. Be interesting to see how these publications are liking this.
Yep. There's your Fitness Plus included, of course.
Fitness Plus. Yep.
It would be interesting if after announcing Fitness Plus at $80 a year, they come back and say this Apple One is $80 a year, including Fitness Plus.
Here we go.
$15.
$14.95 a month. You get music, Apple TV, Arcade, and iCloud. And then $20 for a family.
That's too much. It's too much for me. I wouldn't pay it.
$30.
Here, $30, including News Plus and Fitness Plus.
With 2 terabytes of iCloud.
That's big with 2 terabytes.
Yeah.
But yeah, add up. I'm already paying for News Plus. I'm already paying for iCloud. I'm already paying. We'll end up paying for Apple TV Plus at some point.
So we went down the family plan of getting Apple Music. So that's a certain cost that we've got a month already. I've been paying for iCloud for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at this top end cost, $30 a month for Apple Music, Apple TV, Apple Arcade, iCloud. Now, I've been debating myself whether I'm going to go with TV, and they've started to put some shows out there like Ted Lasso, for example, and then they've got the motorbike one that's coming on, and they're starting to fill that up. I wasn't going to go with Apple TV, but I'm starting to be swung on it. Now, that price, if it's a family premiere package, for me, I'm probably going to go for that.
Do we know, is it a family thing, or is it?
Don't know, because they've got the family one in the middle, and then you jump to the premiere.
Right.
But that's an extra $10, Eric, for just 2 extra applications. So I think the premiere is still a family one as well.
Yeah, you would think that would make sense. Yeah.
It could be a difference on the amount of storage that you've got on iCloud as well.
That's what I was going to ask. Is it just the premiere that has the 2 terabytes, or do we know?
I believe that's what they said, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the individual is 50 gigs, the family is 200 gigs, and the premiere is 2 terabytes.
Okay.
So then it'll be interesting to compare that price to what I would pay if I were only wanted the 2 terabytes and music and TV. Because Arcade holds no interest for me, and News is like I can live without News.
Yeah.
I think that's the big difference.
Yeah, I think they had to throw News in there, didn't they?
Yeah, where I immediately said it's too much is all of you subscribe to Apple Music.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
A number of you subscribe to Apple TV. I don't. So to me, it's the iCloud service.
Yeah.
So right away, I'm like, well, I pay $250 a month for that. But I could see where if you're using Apple Music and Apple TV and can use 2 terabytes of storage, that it starts to become more valuable. We did look at News, I think I'm with you guys. I don't really see the value in that one.
Yeah.
Apple Arcade, I don't see the value in that one. But if you had music and you had TV and you had iCloud, yeah, it's starting to become a pretty good value then.
Can I say, though, there are a lot of people that I've spoken to that absolutely love the arcade games that are coming out. So
I'm sure.
There is a lot of usage there. Myself, I just wouldn't get enough out of it, so I didn't go for it. I tried it, but I just wouldn't get enough out of it. But if it came as part of the package of a deal which is similar to what I'm paying at the moment, then I'm very likely to go for it.
Yeah, they push it very heavily in the App Store, and I haven't seen anything from gaming where I went, ooh, I really want to play that game. So, it's just not targeted toward me.
No, I think it's, like you said, the wrong demographic for me too. But getting back to the Apple One thing, I mean, I already have Apple Music for Family. I do have the 2 terabyte iCloud, which I have the Apple TV Plus, but just because I bought a phone. But I mean, the Family and the 2 terabyte iCloud, I think that's already up to $25 a month. Mm-hmm. So, it's really.
You're there, Eric. They've got you.
They got me. Yes.
Well, they've now since moved on to the iPad. They announced that the iPad, the 8th gen, which is going to be a 10.2 size screen, is going to run the A12 chipset. And so far that's where we're at with that, and going through a lot of specs here.
It only does 5 million operations per second.
Yeah, and they also called out, it's faster than the Windows, 2 times faster than the Windows laptop. I think it was 3 times faster than the Android laptop and 6 times faster than a Chromebook.
Yeah.
So that's something they usually don't do. They don't usually call out the competition quite like that.
Right.
No.
Interesting.
Yep.
Well, look, it's not exactly hard to outperform Android tablets or Chromebooks. So those are not surprising numbers to me. Yeah. And to compare it to a Windows, I assume they're not comparing it to the ARM Windows tablets. They're comparing it to the Intel-based tablets. And we already know that in certain operations, ARM, or Apple's chips, I should say, Apple Silicon chips outperform Intel chips in most of the benchmark tests that I've seen on a 1-to-1 comparison.
Yeah, but Mike, I mean, here we go again. Look around you at who's on this call. I mean, we're a bunch of geeks. So that's really going to, I think, resonate with the non-geeks. I mean, because let's face it, anytime somebody says, this is 2 times faster, better, bigger, better, that sells.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think part of it is too, I mean, the Chromebook is so heavily used in education and everything. I just wonder if it's maybe Apple trying to take back some of that or keep whatever.
And they're talking about the Apple Pencil. I was wondering if they were going to upgrade it to this the 2nd gen for this new iPad. Doesn't look like it.
Yeah, because it looks like they're showing the original Apple Pencil.
Pencil. Yeah, it's a shame. I was hoping.
And this looks a little more like an iOS 14 or iPad OS 14, demo, as opposed to the iPad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I really think, we haven't seen them yet, I really think an inventive new low-end MacBook with Apple Silicon chips has a lot greater chance of dethroning Chromebooks and Windows tablets from the education market than the iPad does.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited for what Apple can do there. I want to see if they will do it, but I'm excited for what they can do with a low-end ARM-based Mac. And that, I think, is I think it was you, Dave, brought it up about education, or maybe it was Eric, but I think that's the device that Google and Microsoft need to worry about, not the iPad. Especially if they can introduce it at some of the price points that we've seen rumored. Can you imagine a low-end MacBook with a screen size similar to the iPad, running Apple Silicon at $799 or even $899? Something like that can really take over the education market because it can run all the software they need to run. The iPad can't necessarily run all the software they need to run when they're already entrenched in Windows or Chromebooks.
Right.
So they announced the iPad is going to be available today to order, and it'll be ready on Friday. They didn't mention anything about wondering if it was going to switch off of Lightning and go to USB-C. It did say it does come with a USB-C adapter, so they are giving you an adapter here.
Are they calling it the Air?
This is the 8th gen. So
they're just calling it the 8th gen. Okay.
The iPad Air is coming up next. Yeah,
okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so the price for that is $329 and $299 for education.
That's a steal.
Yeah.
I still think this is the sweet spot iPad. If someone's going out and just buying an iPad because they want one, buy this. $329. It's super fast, super fluid, runs what you need it to run. It's got a good sized screen. This is the one to buy. So
this iPad Air, already they're showing a video. Looks like it's going to get designed along the lines of the iPad Pro, and I have a feeling this one's probably going to have a USB-C because it's showing it's using the Magic Keyboard and the
Pencil, and second
gen Pencil. Yep. So I think that's where their sweet spot's going to be with giving us a more affordable Pro in the Air.
What do you think about the Touch ID power button?
No, I think it's great. I mean, I'm used to Face ID from the Pro, but I think it's great. There's a lot of people still like Touch ID.
Yeah, I really like the Face ID on the Pro. I like the any angle, and I wish they would bring that to the phone.
The problem is there are advantages and disadvantages to both processes. So
yeah.
There are times when I'm shouting at my phone because I've got to pick it up and look at it, and there are times when it just opens up when I need it. So, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
The COVID thing really did bring out the one weakness with the Face ID that they couldn't have foresaw, and I didn't. But it certainly has become a bummer.
Yeah, so it loses the home button and, like I said, works with the Magic Keyboard. And then I think the Touch ID is going to be the power button instead of the home button.
Interesting.
And it comes in new colors: a new rose gold, a green, and a blue.
I love that green.
Some interesting more color choices that they've never had before on the iPad like that.
All I was going to say is with the mask, it's interesting. I've personally observed folks trying to wake their phone with a mask on, and it's funny how many folks forget that when the Face ID fails, you can still punch in your 4 or 6 digit code to wake it up.
I know.
I've just sorry I was laughing, but they've just said on the iPad Air that they've brought Touch ID fingerprint sensor to the top button.
Yeah, to the weight. Yeah.
Which is what we had heard rumored. Yeah. And I'm used to you laughing at me, Gary.
No, I'm not. I never laugh at you, Mike, ever.
No, the rest of us do, but Gaz never does. So this is another one of those things that, I mean, they're placing a big bet on that, because if that doesn't work, that's going to be really ugly. So it has to work.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, is this going to be a rest your finger on it or swipe your finger on it?
Rest.
Looks like rest.
It's a narrow. It's taking such a narrow.
I know.
View of your finger. Then.
So I would say it's probably going to do the same as the sensor was on the iPhone, on the current device. But obviously, it needs to take a full shot, and you can just then put any part of the flat part of your finger on it, and it'll recognize it.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
That's interesting.
So how secure that is, obviously it's less secure than a full fingerprint, possibly, but...
Yeah, I would think so.
And this,
I guess it depends on how they implemented it and how they, because it's all numbers and probably formulas inside, so I know. It does seem like it would be a risk. Like and that's probably why they said it's like, it's 1 in 50,000 or something like that, as opposed to the Face ID.
If it would be a swipe, like if you swipe your finger on it. But
the funny thing is, though, for me, the iPad is not a device that I'm more worried about people stealing, because it's more often than not with me at home, or if I take it out the house, I've always got hands on the device. It's less of a device that I'm worried about having stuff stolen. Obviously, people can then access it and get into it. So that's the only the concern there, I suppose.
So we're in the lab now. Of course, that's the real Apple lab, right?
Yeah, it looks like it. They're not very busy.
Upgrading it to the A14 processor, which has been rumored that's going to be the same chip in the iPhone 12. 40% faster CPU. It's a 5 nanometer size chip. It's crazy. So they've bumped this Air up to almost not to the high end of Pro. That's why it'll be interesting to see where the pricing is on this one.
Now the iPad, the 8th gen iPad was the 12.
It's the A12, yes.
Right. Okay. Well, it's interesting. We're just shy of an hour into this. To be honest, the biggest surprise to me so far has been how little time they spent on the bundled services.
You're right.
I thought, if anything, they were going to spend more time on that, less time on the hardware, but they seem to be spending more time on the Air and the Watch than they did anything else. Rightly so. I'm not saying that they shouldn't spend time on that. But I'm a little surprised they didn't spend more time on the services.
I don't know. The services are the services. There's the only new one, and they did spend some time on that, is the fitness. Mm. Other than that, everybody, anybody that knows Apple, it knows what those services are.
Yeah, fair point.
Right.
Yep.
They're moving along pretty well here.
They are. This might wrap up in an hour.
I can't imagine you have to go more than an hour to talk about. As you know, there's no iPhone today. No AirTags. I'd be shocked, unless it's a one more thing. I don't know.
So wasn't there talk of a HomePod Mini?
Oh yeah, the HomePod Mini I think was kind of down on the bottom of the list from rumors I read.
Did anyone spot an Apple Silicon Mac in the background of that lab?
Probably that. Not the Mac Pros.
Is that the one that just has the big AS on it?
Did you guys see the news story? How I know swear word here, Chuck, but in the months leading up to the release of the new Xbox, Microsoft was sneaking the actual new Xbox into the background of videos they were putting out. I thought that was, so that's
really?
why I'm looking in the background here. It's like, okay, well,
see if they...
are we seeing one here in the background? How about that one right behind him, right there? I bet you that's one.
Just see if Microsoft put an Xbox in the background.
No.
No, I'm just kidding.
Mike, it's because nobody cared what was in the foreground. Sorry.
Man. 1995, Chuck comes out.
Now that they're talking about doing.
Do you know, one of the blogs has just said exactly that. Anyone see any prototypes in that Apple lab? Yeah.
Oh shoot! I forgot to follow the blogs I've had open. I've been watching the video.
You've been watching the video blogs and listening to us, Mike, haven't you? That's
much more entertaining, quite honestly.
They're starting to talk about a lot of AR stuff here. They were showing the DJ Pro, where the DJ was in the air with his hands moving the discs as he spun the records and clapped, and so they're getting into some reality stuff here now.
Boy, that lab is in the basement, isn't it? When they zoomed out, boy, he's way down there. He's in the bowels of the Apple Park. Yeah, I'm watching this on YouTube, and it seems like I'm probably about 30 to 60 seconds behind you guys. I imagine you're watching it live on Apple's site.
Yeah, I've already started the Pixelmator demo.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm watching it on Apple TV.
Yeah. Showing the Pixelmator photo, I've used that. It's like the only reason I pulled out Pixelmator Pro is for that machine learning super resolution. That actually works really well to enlarge pictures or shrink them. But I've had really good luck with that.
Demos are done.
We're really putting some emphasis on this A14 processor. That's great. So I'm interested that this is going to be the processor to be the Apple Silicon.
USB-C.
USB-C. Yep.
USB-C.
I knew it because the way they designed it, I knew right away that was going to change. So the Air is the 8th gen is going to stay the same with Lightning. It'll probably be the only iPad left with a Lightning connector. in the line now.
Oh, I thought I heard you say, Dave, that the iPad 8 had a USB-C adapter. Or did I misunderstand?
Adapter, but it's going to be USB-C.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Because that's what they're including now, with the USB-C to Lightning cables in boxes now.
Gotcha. I misunderstood. I thought you were saying it had a USB-C.
It did have the
connector.
adapter, but you'll have a USB-C to Lightning cable.
To Lightning cable. Gotcha.
So the camera on there isn't quite to the Pro.
No.
But
and no LiDAR, no LiDAR like the new one.
Right. It's only got the one lens. It'll be interesting to see what their price point is here.
Yeah, it could go. I'm guessing around 500.
I was going to say $599.
Yeah, probably. They're showing the sound come. I absolutely adore that Ted Lasso. Did you say, Gaz, you like that show?
Sorry, say that again.
The Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's great.
So you can appreciate it more being in the UK. It just makes me smile every week. I watch that episode.
When I first watched the first 2 or 3, I thought this can't make up its mind what it is, but actually that's almost part of its charm. So yeah.
Oh, it's got Wi-Fi 6 too. I wonder if has any other Apple product have Wi-Fi 6 yet, other than
all future products should.
I know,
but I don't know that they will, but they really should.
They haven't.
The problem I've got is I really am just about in the market for a new iPad.
So does this Air look like something you'd like to get?
I'm getting excited.
Yeah.
So what makes your final decision? You're getting excited about this. What would they announce that you say, okay, that's it. That's the one I got to get?
I don't know what price it is, but it's likely to be the price, Mike, if I'm perfectly honest.
Okay,
but I can't tell you what that would be, because I think now if the improvements, they've really refined it. Everything's coming together. And if the price is right, then it'll probably do it. But at this point in time, I don't really know what that price is going to be, because I've been here so many times watching these keynotes and gone, oh, yes, yeah, and that price, yeah, that's fine. And then when you wake up the next morning, you think, how much? So
I do like the new colors.
Yeah, I do too.
I hope the iPhone 12 comes in these colors.
I like that sky blue.
Yeah.
Yeah. $5.99.
Yep.
Well, depends what the memory is on that, but that's touchable distance.
Yeah. I would hope it's at least 64, maybe 128 as far as space storage goes. I bet it's going to be 64.
Should be 128. But what will it be?
Yeah, I would hope it's 128. Storage is so cheap now.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any details on that. I don't know about you.
No. They're just showing.
I know it has Touch ID on the sleep wake button. Does it also have Face ID?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Yeah, nothing was mentioned yet about storage. It works with the Magic Keyboard.
They showed a thing where they're going to be carbon neutral by 2030. I don't know what it was. I think Microsoft came out and said they would be carbon negative by 2030. And then some article I was reading said Google will probably come out and say they'll be carbon impossible by 2030.
Hey, there was a little cameo of Craig Federighi, and it zoomed right back to Tim.
Yeah, there's been a couple of those.
Yeah.
iOS 14 tomorrow.
Beautiful. So that means the beta 8 was the golden master then.
Okay, yeah.
So it's coming out before the iPhone?
As I expected. I can't wait to put it right into Guy Cyril. He's been saying it's not coming out the next year.
Well, they made that mistake before when they tried to release the phone and the updates at the same time, and that was an update disaster.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So this is really smart. Everybody's going to have some time to get their devices updated and then bring out the new phone.
Now
we'll all beta test it. They'll fix it, and then they'll release a new iPhone.
What about the watch? Actually, the latest beta seems pretty stable.
Well, that's coming out as well, apparently. OS 7. Watch OS 7 tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
WatchOS 7 is coming out tomorrow. Good. Yes. Yeah, that is.
Great.
And tvOS 14, and it's an hour. Looks like they're starting to wrap up.
I'm excited. I can't wait to get into now. I'm gonna really dig into iOS 14, and we'll be talking a lot about it on the show for sure.
Do you use the app library?
I had been. I have beta devices. I have a 10R I use for beta, and I had been, it's pretty slick. It's gonna take a little time getting used to.
See, I think I might be one of the few that I have everything organized in folders and kind of in the home screen set up where I wanted it. So I can't seem to make the app library work for me, but who knows? Maybe it'll.
Okay. So I can't let this snarky comment go. So the app library.
Yes, you can.
On iOS 14 looks to me like Apple saw a picture of how application storage works on Android and said, yeah, we think we know how that works. Let's do it this way. And they didn't actually try it. You think that they would go out and actually try it first and then say, hey, we can do this and we can do it better. But instead they said, we think it looks like this, so we're going to make it kind of look like that, but it's not actually going to work like that.
Yeah, because there doesn't seem to be any way that you really can configure it. It's just kind of,
No, it's a very Apple effort on what an app library should be. Oh, it wrapped up.
Yeah, that felt like a pretty satisfying hour or a little more.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we weren't getting bored. They weren't. You always remember in the live events they'd bring it over to a gaming developer or one of the other developers, and then you just be like, oh god, no, this was concise to the point. You got everything we wanted to know about, and all the rumors were pretty much true. I mean, you had you had all the devices that they said they were going to announce, and we knew right away iPhone was not going to get announced until later. So I'm anticipating that to be next month. So yeah, it's very concise.
I love the rolling credits. We don't normally get rolling credits like that. That's awesome.
Yeah. I love it. You know, most of them had to do with health and safety.
They did. Yeah. They said all the event locations were properly sanitized. And yeah, that's very cool. Okay. All right.
So the iPad, just to confirm, the iPad Air is starting at 64 gigabyte.
64.
Okay.
Yeah. Interestingly, the credits have stopped maybe by about 15 seconds, and the store is back online.
Go buy now.
That's one of those efficiencies of pre-recording everything.
Yeah, and Mike, I think you had said something. Now the new Apple Watch magnetic charger to USB-C cable is $29.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, they just did wonders for the third-party Apple. Actually, there are no third-party Apple chargers for the watch, are there?
Oh yeah.
Oh sure.
Actual magnetic charging bases, because all the ones I've seen, you take your existing Apple charger and stick it into the base.
No, there's combo chargers and.
There are those clones of what Apple is going to release, the little charging base kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't think Apple's going to release that.
No. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
I think Apple gave up. They just kind of took the design and said, "Here, you guys make this. we don't want to anymore. You go make it."
Well, they was supposed to be able to charge your device no matter where you laid it, no matter what device you laid where. And I think they came up to the point where they're like, you know what, this will cost $1,000, and why?
Yeah.
So they didn't. But yeah, you're right. They have those, and I think I did see a charger that could, just a plain charger for the watch too. But
I'm glad, all these years in, my Apple Watch 3 still gives me 2 days of battery life out of it.
That's good.
Oh, that's
which
great.
I'm thrilled by.
I will.
Janet's is less with her Series 4. She gets about just a little over a day.
That's kind of what with my 5. That's what I get.
It's not what I get when I'm doing 16 miles. I can assure you.
Oh no, that'll eat it up, and
and also when I'm listening to music on it as well. So
yeah. Do you do that? You listen to music on your watch?
Yeah. That was absolutely.
Yes. I would probably think for exercise, especially, that'd be great. And if you didn't have to bring your phone along too,
Yeah, well, the funniest thing was I was kayaking out on the south coast, the UK. We were about possibly about a mile out to the ocean, just going around an island, and we were looking at the seals that were out there, and I got a phone call, and it was on the watch, and I was chatting away to the guy, and he had no clue until I'd had to tell him where I was. And
isn't that something?
yeah,
That's amazing.
Incredible.
Well, having once again remind us how unfit we are, I'm going to go hand this over to Gary and say, all right, so we had 2 iPads announced today. We had the new Apple Watch, and we had a bundle Apple services announced. Obviously, you were saying you're incredibly interested in the iPad Air. Is that the most exciting thing that was announced for you today?
I think over the watch, certainly. I'm just trying to refresh the UK website at the moment to see whether the watch is coming up. And the watch, they're still sticking with the 5, so I haven't looked at the details there. But I am leaning towards a new iPad and have been for about a year, so it's probably coming up to about time. The Air looks like it's good, but I'd probably want it in combination with the pencil as well, because I've never really used the pencil, but it would get use in the household.
Yeah.
Now the iPad Air and then those bundled services, I think, are certainly possibly on the wish list at the moment. It's $579, the 64 gigabyte one, which is okay because we don't put a lot on it. And a lot of the services are actually in iCloud anyway, so it doesn't have to have massive amount of storage, although I would have preferred 128 if I'm honest. But for it's $579 over here, which includes our taxes. So yeah, I'm kind of, it's starting to swing me, I think. It's starting to swing me.
It's a very attractive device. Now, you're going to bump up to the next level, you think, of storage?
No, I don't think we need
64?
to. I don't think we need it. We don't need it because most of the time we're on. It's generally used on home Wi-Fi. I've got extremely good Wi-Fi at home everywhere. I've got iCloud. All of the photos are in the cloud as well. I don't think I need to. I would have liked more, but the next one up is 256. And obviously the jump therein is makes it a bit, a bit of an ouch factor.
Yeah.
So if I change that to it goes up from 579 to 729.
Anything surprise you?
Possibly the price of the packages. I was expecting, the Apple One, but I was thinking, they're going to have to make it reasonable for people to take it up. But Apple generally have a little bit more costly experience. But I think do you know that it's not like that anymore? I really don't. And when you look back at how long you keep Apple devices, being an experienced Apple users, we know, the cost from birth to death with these devices, and it makes them really cheap. So, and I think that was always one of the arguments that we used to have to people who weren't Apple fans. But now I don't think you have to have that argument so much because the prices are getting better and better.
Oh yeah, my MacBook Pro, which I'm not using right at the moment, but my 2011 MacBook Pro is over there saying, "I'm not dead yet." All right. I tease you. Don't die. Don't die, MacBook Pro. Eric, how about you? What are you running out to purchase tomorrow?
Probably not anything, but the watch does look intriguing. I was going to just take a look at it anyway, but I do have a Series 5, and I also have an iPad Pro, a 2018, which it's like a 12.9-inch 2018, which I'm very happy with, and is plenty. I will say, like Gary was saying too, with the storage thing, it's not as big of a deal as it used to be with iCloud, and of course, like I said before, we have Apple Music, and so, and I've actually had iTunes in the cloud or whatever, iTunes Match since way back when. So being able to have all that stored in the cloud has been a huge deal. And I don't have to give up a whole bunch of storage for that. And so, that being said, I think you can go with a smaller storage. But I think the thing for me probably is sort of the services I'm going to see. I do see the Premiere is you can share with up to 5 people. So that might be the way to go. Since I'm already paying close to that. And in fact, right now I have the 2 terabyte iCloud, but then also I've been trying to get everybody to use my 2 terabyte, but the way that it's been is, my daughter has a certain amount and my wife has a certain amount. And so even though it's like a small amount, it might be like $2 or $1 every month, it's kind of annoying to get billed that all the time. So.
And you may have called it, Chuck, when you were talking earlier about the doctors and insurance industries pushing upgrades to people's wrists. What do you think about the new Watch Series 6? Is it a compelling enough upgrade for you? You did mention that you wanted to buy it.
I think a straight purchase I might have a little trouble with. I want to see what kind of trade-in I can get or what I can sell my existing one for. But given that, if that's anywhere near decent, what we've seen from the past ones, yeah, I think that the differential would make it a decent upgrade. I mean, happily, I guess, well, I can say this because it's me, but I don't have any significant health problems or anything that's pushing me in that direction. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it feels good to have that much information. So, it's the brighter screen has a lot of appeal to me because I've used certain apps outside, and it's not that you can't see them. It's just that it's not always the best experience, and that to me is it was sort of passed over, but I think that's a big thing.
Yeah.
Gary mentioned this, and I have to agree. But we had moved on. I've never had a problem with seeing my screen outside. Now, granted, I'm not in the California desert or in the. You don't have sun problems. You're not in a desert, Chuck. How is it you have trouble seeing the screen?
Well, on a golf course.
Oh, that's right.
If you're using the yardage apps, then you want to be able to read that very clearly.
That's a good point. Good point.
And imagine the sun comes out sometimes wherever you live.
Yeah. Okay. Well, usually, if it's not, I'm not playing. So
eventually, it will come out for you too, Eric.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think so.
One interesting note here, because I'm on the Apple Watch Series 6 page. You can order the watch with the solo loop, and it looks like the solo loop doesn't cost any more than the old bands, but you can download. You have to download, print, and cut a sizing so that you know what size band to order.
Oh, wow, interesting.
So that because they made a point, I don't know if you all caught it in there, that this is just one piece and it's stretchable and flexible, and so you're not just going to be able to say, hey, here. I was kind of surprised at that, frankly. I guess it's been in the works for a while, but during COVID, who's going to want to go in and touch a bunch of watch bands? But true. I guess this is the way that you do it, is they do the measurement.
Yeah, it's not like the old stretch watch bands from the 70s. And I guess you can still get them now where you can remove links. This is a fixed size, so you do kind of have to know what size to get.
Yeah.
Getting back to the watch.
Sorry, Eric, you absolutely do, because if you are using it for sports, it needs to be the right tension on your wrist to pick up your heartbeat, etc.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sorry, Eric.
No. I was going to say that brighter display. I wonder if it comes in, because I'm just looking at the watch page now, and I wonder because it seems like it's talking about the always on, and it says that the always on retina display is now significantly brighter outdoors when your wrist is down, so you can see the information on your watch face more easily than ever without having to raise your wrist. So, which I do have the Series 5, and that is an issue, obviously outdoors. I mean, when you twist it, you can see it. But so I wonder if that's the only place that it really applies.
I bet you're right. That's a great point.
I think if they want to get this right, then a lot of people wear polarized glasses when they're out, especially if it's sunny. If that's one thing I do struggle with the darker glasses, seeing the screen is a little bit more difficult. So if they could do it so that you've got a polarized option, so that you can see it clearly through your polarizing glasses, then they'd be on a winner then.
Now, Dave, I do want to throw it over to you, and I want to apologize. We're simultaneously recording two podcasts here, and I just realized a moment ago that I'm stepping all over your toes, Dave. So here's what I'm going to do. I kind of opened up this episode, so I'm going to go ahead and say that that's going to do it for this episode of For Mac Guys Only. I hope everyone enjoyed it, and I want to thank everyone for listening, and thanks to Gary and Eric and Chuck and Dave for joining me. I'd like everyone to stay subscribed. We'll talk to you next time. And Dave, I'm going to throw it over to you to give your thoughts on today's announcements and to wrap things up.
Yep. I like all the things that were announced today. The Apple Watch, I'm probably going to hold off. I mean, I got the Series 4. I'm pretty happy with it. And I'm going to have to just kind of wait and see, like I think a lot of the panel said today. iPad, same thing. I have the Pro from 2018. Pretty happy with that. So it's been a great it's a great iPad. So I don't see any compelling reason to do any upgrades at this time. If anything, I would be looking at the Pro, but the Pro is pretty pricey. So the bundles, the Apple One event of the bundles of all the products, that's going to be interesting to see. I am using a lot of those services. They did break down the cost savings. If you were to go with the Premier, it's going to be like a $25 difference in price at the high end. So those things as well went really well. So, but no, overall I think it's going to be a great event. iOS 14. I can't wait to start really digging into it as a full-time use on my devices. I don't put beta on my primary devices. I do just do on my secondary devices. So that there's going to be a lot to talk about there as well. So, did you have anything else, Mike?
Nope. I think I'm pretty wrapped up here. It'll be interesting to see iOS 14 when it does come out. Like you, I don't install the betas on any of my devices, and I do install betas on my sacrificial MacBook. That's the one that gets all the latest beta releases of macOS. But my phone, my watch, my tablets, they stay current release until the 0.1 release of whatever just gets released. So, it'll be interesting to see what comes our way with iOS 14 because I've not had a chance to experiment with it yet.
All right. Yep. I guess we think we're probably ready to wrap up here. I thank Chuck and Gaz and you, Mike, as well, and Eric for joining us. And be sure to go to my website for In Touch with iOS at intouchwithios.com. That's where all the links, all the ways to listen to this. And and I really thank everybody for listening, and we hope you join us again soon. And leave one last thing for Mike to wrap anything up here like that. Add.
I'll just say again, thanks so much for listening, everyone. Stay subscribed, and we'll talk to you next time.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the show. We had a lot of fun with reacting to all the announcements that occurred, and we're definitely going to be having a lot more discussions relating to iOS 14 and the Apple Watch and the iPad and all the bundles that Apple announced. And so stay tuned for future episodes talking about all that fun stuff. So with that, this is a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Twitter @InTouchWithIOS, or you can subscribe in your favorite podcatcher, including Apple Podcasts and many others. Better yet, go to our website at intouchwithios.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us are there. I am Dave Ginsburg, and you can find me on Twitter @DaveG65. I really appreciate you listening. Hope you enjoy the show, and we'll talk again soon.